Hello guys, I am JL and I am here to discuss more about indigenous science here in the Philippines, especially the discipline of mathematics. We might think that there is no mathematics during indigenous era. This is because there is no written record. Unlike the Greek geometry, the Arab algebra, the Renaissance calculus. It is also long believed that mathematics in the Philippines originated only with Chinese traders here in the Philippines, further developed by the Thomasites. However, recent discovery shows that Filipinos did in fact possess some system of counting and mathematics. But let us now look at some of the present evidence of math in the different areas we could look for. The counting and measuring system. The ancient Filipinos used familiar system of base 10 system, perhaps a reason why it was not recognized as an indigenous counting system that we used. The Central Tagalog counting of labing isa, dalawamput isa, is how most Filipinos count today. But for most other cultures, the human body was used for counting. Perhaps one common thing we do in the Philippines is count using the little finger of our non-dominant hand. So we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So this is a very practical counting system for ancient Filipinos to be prepared to draw a sword using the dominant hand. Now, here are some measurement examples. The Tagalogs walked 6 paces without spaces in between, and we call this adipa. A dangkal was a measure of one palm. A timuro is the distance between the end of a thumb and the end of a forefinger. So it is his atimuro. It's basically an inch. A damak is the total length of 5 fingers on one hand. And a sansale is the length of one finger. So here are some Filipino riddles that relates counting with the body parts. Sample riddle is isang bayabas, pito ang butas. One guava fruit with 7 holes. The answer is a head, of course, because we have 7 holes in our head. Another popular method of counting is through tally method, which uses notch inscribed on stones or animal bones, which brings us to time. Ancient Filipinos used to tie knots on a string every sunset to remember the days, and notches on a stick and stone every full moon to keep track of months. So after every 12 full moons is what we call a year. Unlike many cultures which uses also weeks to keep tracks of a month, the Igorots for instance divide a month into 8 equal periods of 4 days each, which keep tracks of waxing and waning of the moons. The Pintados of Visayas also tried naming the months, but only 7 have names. The first month, which is determined by the rising of Pleiades when it returns to its same position and shape, is called Dagan Kahoy. Then there are that follows, namely Daga Nenan, El Kilin, Inabuyan, Kabay, Irarapan, and Manalulsul. Only 7 have names since these are the months which are very useful for agriculture. And there are more other cultures that name constellations, such as the Bagobos of Davao, which calls the Orion as Balatik, which uses the geometry of the bow of Orion, which is used to make Balatik traps and Balatik designs, which brings us to geometry. Ifugao art uses Tiniku design ranging from clothes to weapons and tattoos, which we could also see a similarity of southern Mindanao's. The ancient Filipino boats or barangay, which is crafted using tools such as dalag, bintong, and lokob. Shapes are also the cornerstone of most games such as sarangola, turumpo, and piko. We could also look at the musical instrument used such as kulintang, which is composed of 7 gongs carefully crafted to be tuned to a proportion. We also have the gabang, a bamboo xylophone by the Tausug of Sulu. The diwas by the Tingyans of Abra, which is a panpipe made of bamboo reeds, which implies a pentatonic scale proportion based on their other instrument called dalot. The list is endless for the ancient Filipino instruments used from ranging from flutes to string instruments. And now for logic mathematics. Many logical patterns have been developed by Filipinos that we can actually see in this game. The Jack and Poi and the strategy games such as Sungka. Filipinos have developed logical moves for these games. And now, we see that though mathematics is rarely discussed in history, it is much embedded in our culture. The indigenous science influenced our modern sciences, such as in mathematics. You see, we did not lose our identity through Western influences, or even by our neighboring countries. Our real identity is what Filipinos developed to be at this time. That's all. Thank you.